Hey folks, a day in the life of a code guy here at a major manufacturer of wire and cable. And one of the hidden gems of the National Electrical Code is the informative annexes. So how many times have you done an installation or you've worked with a product and somebody like an inspector says 110.3b that it has to be installed in accordance with its listing? And then you start to go, well, what are the various listings on the products? Well, one of the hidden gems of the NEC is the Informative Annex A. Now, informative annexes are not code required. They're not mandatory. They're good information, but they are really helpful to folks if you're going to be doing research on the listings of various products. So let me give you an example. Let's use just MC cable, for example. There's so much more that goes into MC cable than you might think. So you might be familiar with the UL standard for MC cable, which all manufacturers have to make it to. That's UL 1569. But did you know there are other things involved in the making of this MC cable? Let's check it out. Well, here you go. Informative Annex A, Product Safety Standards. All right. It's going to give you all of the legal jargon here, telling you that the Annex A is not part of the requirements of NFPA, but these are the standards that help drive the code rules. And so let's do an example. We said MC cable. So here's the beautiful thing about this. If you're ever working on something and you want to know whether or not there's a listing for a certain product, it's broken down by article, and then it gives you the relevant standards over here that you can go looking it up. All right, so let's just go here. We're going to be looking at, okay, so 330 for metal clad cable. Y'all are familiar with that. Now, the conductors that go in that cable, if it's thermal set like XHHW, there's UL 44. If you've got fixture wires in there, UL 66. There's UL 83 for normal THHN, THWN-2. Of course, you've got the fittings. That would be 514B. And of course, you have machine tool wire and cable, which sometimes comes in MC cable. That is 1063 for the inners. That's for the machine tool wire. But check it out. Metal clad cable, 1569. Here you also have hazardous for use in hazardous locations, fittings and stuff. That's 2225. All right. But what about supporting of these cables? Well, you have a listing right here. Hardware for support of conduit, tubing, and cable. 2239. So as you can see, this can be extremely helpful if you're looking at something and trying to find out what the actual listing is. Okay, so example right here, liquid tight flexible steel conduit. That's UL 360. The fittings that go with it are also under here, UL 514B, conduit, tubing, and cable fittings. So why is all this important, and why is this a neat little gem in the NEC? Well, the reason for that is that anytime somebody tells you that something has to be installed in accordance with its listing, you want to know, where's the listing? Where can I find information about a listing? Well, go to the Informative Annex A, find out what you're working with. Like, for example, if it was non-metallic sheath cable, go to the back, go to 334, and you'll see that that is UL 719. Well, that gives you the foundation to be able to now get that UL document and see all the things that takes place in production of that product. What we as a manufacturer have to follow in order to ensure it's safe use for you, the public. All those things are done behind the scenes. All of us manufacturers cannot put a product out there to market, especially when it comes to wire and cable. We cannot put a product out there to market that hasn't been evaluated, that is not constructed to a certain ANSI standard and an ASTM standard, which is another standard for like the copper and the aluminum. All those type of things we have to do behind the scenes so that you get a product that's safe. Okay, so if you ever want to look for hidden gems in the NEC and you're really struggling with listings of products and you want to know what's listed, what's not listed, if there's even a listing required on it or there is one available, do me a favor, just go to the Informative Annex A and check it out. Hope you learned something.